Hi, if you're wondering how to stay balanced as a solopreneur, then stay tuned to this video because I'm going to be sharing some tips on how you can keep that work-life balance. I'm Demetria with ImpactPodcastCoach.com. I'm a podcast coach and consultant for women entrepreneurs. And today I'm going to be talking about something that's very important to the woman entrepreneur, and that's work-life balance. So if you've been wondering how to do this, how to keep your life in balance with your work, then I have a couple of tips that I can share that have been useful for me in my life as a woman entrepreneur who was also homeschooling my kids all these years. So balancing the home life, balancing their education, and balancing family life with my husband, with travel, and building a business at the same time. And the very first tip I'm going to share with you, because you're a solopreneur, if you're listening to this as a solopreneur, then I think this is a very important tip. And I'm going to start with this one because it's something that I'm still working through right now. And it's called delegation. And we all know that this is something that we're told to do, that we're supposed to be doing. But sometimes type A personalities like myself, maybe like you too, like to get it all done ourselves because we somehow feel like we have this magic to just get it done the way we want it to be done. But what that does is it takes away from the growth of our business. So we end up growing a lot slower than we should because we don't have people on our team that can help us. So that's something that I'm working on in 2023. I've got a couple of people in the pipeline that are helping me with various tasks now that I'm finally learning how to delegate these tasks. So get a virtual assistant or hire out a graphic designer. When I first got started with web design, of course, because I liked designing websites, I ended up designing all of my sites and all of my graphics. Now I'm learning that I need to hire out people to do some of this stuff for me. So I've been using help to get my graphics done. Some graphics I do myself in Canva, and others, such as my podcast banner art, I would outsource that. So if you find certain tasks are taking too much of your time, then you need to go get some help. Is it okay to hire someone on Fiverr? That's a question that I get from a lot of solopreneurs. Do you hire on Fiverr? How do you handle hiring a VA if you can't afford a VA right away, if you're just getting started with your business? And I would say if you're just getting started, then absolutely Fiverr is a way that you can get some help. But be careful and be sure to pick and choose carefully the type of people that you hire to get on board, because Fiverr is like mining through a haystack. So you could end up with high quality or poor quality work at the end of the day. So you want to make sure that you vet your designers or your VA or whoever you're using to help out, to make sure that they have a good track record, and just kind of keep tabs on what they've done in the past and see if it really vibes with you. And don't pour too much money into it at first, just a few bucks, see how it works. And then, if you trust that individual, then hire them again to work with you because you work well with them. Otherwise, I would recommend that if you already have some income flowing in, go ahead and hire an assistant that you can trust, that you can go to, that one person that's going to help you with your project management, with your, like I said, your graphics or your audios, your video editing, or whatever tasks you have, your scheduling, and get someone that can really be helpful to you, that you can trust and you can bring them on board. The second thing I want to share with you is to make sure that you set boundaries between your client time and your family time. So that means making sure that your clients know when your hours of availability are, so that you're not bleeding into time with your family. So if you absolutely don't want to work past 5:00 p.m., then make sure that's in your contracts with your clients so they understand that you're not going to be working past a certain time. That means you won't be answering emails, you won't be taking any Voxer messages, you won't be replying to any texts, whatever, no conversation, no communication past a certain time. Make sure that's communicated with your clients so that they don't feel like you're ignoring them. So I always like to give examples of my personal life, give some personal anecdotes so that you can see that I am right here along with you guys who are just starting off with your business or who have been growing in your business. And when I first started, with my design business years ago, I no longer work in the design, I work in podcasting now. One of the things that I failed to do as a beginning fledgling designer and starting my business was to communicate effectively with my clients, letting them know I'm not available past a certain time. And I would just continue to work, continue to answer questions, continue to reply to emails. And what it ended up doing is draining me and making me less effective for that customer, because I wasn't able to give them my best because I was drained and tired from all of the back and forth. So it's important to set those boundaries in place and communicate to them that you're not available past a certain time. And the reason you have to do that is because when you block out time for your personal time and your family time, it puts some sense of urgency for you to set your priorities in place for your life, so that you're not all about business and all about the work you have to do for business. You don't want to get burned out. The last thing you want to do is burn yourself out. So you want to be enjoying your business. You want to be growing a business that you find enjoyable, that you love, and you want to show up for it with 100% of you and just be happy with the work that you're doing. So make sure you set boundaries. And I have to add one more thing to that. You want to make sure that you're getting paid. So you're setting boundaries not only for your time, but for when payments need to be made, so that you're not taken advantage of and that your client understands that your time is money. And so it's important that they pay you for the value and for what you're providing them. So make sure you put those payment schedule plans on the contract so that they know when payments are due, and give a gentle reminder if they're a little bit late. But, make sure you have that in place in your contract, where if they're late, then there's going to be a percentage that you add to their total amount that they owe. So boundaries are super important in business. I just want to put a plug right here real quick for the Her Business Elevated podcast. If you haven't already subscribed and followed me on Apple Podcasts, please do so, because I have a recent interview with my friend Latasha Slayton. She and I went to high school together. She is an awesome person, a registered dietitian, and she owns a dialysis clinic. She's currently working on a doctorate degree, and she is awesome, talking to me and to all of us about self-care, taking care of ourselves and making sure that we stay in tune with ourselves so that we can take care of ourselves spiritually, mentally, and physically. So I would love for you to listen to episode number 29. Another quick plug before I continue with my topic is that I want to make sure you know about my latest podcast, brand new one called Soul Podcasting. So if you haven't subscribed to that, I want you to follow that one as well. All about how to start your podcast, keep it going, and maintain it. So I'd love for you to follow that podcast, free for you to download and listen to at your convenience, as I teach about podcasting this year. And if you want more information about starting your podcast, you can always download my Soul Podcasting Blueprint. It's available for you free to download at impactpodcastcoach.com. I will leave a link to all of that here in the description box. So back to my topic. The third thing I want to add is don't overbook. Do not overbook. So if you can only handle 3 clients a month, then only take 3 clients. Don't take more than that. Because again, if you're booking too many clients, you're not going to be able to handle all of them. Then even though you have more potential to make more money, you're not going to do well, because you'll be spreading your time thin amongst your different clients, perhaps even getting confused about who's doing what, what's due when. And if you don't have a good system, and if you have too many people on board and not enough help, then it's going to go way over your head, and you're going to have to cut some clients, you're going to have to ditch some projects. It's not going to work. So always make sure that you can only take the amount that you feel capable of taking. And I'll just say, personally, I've always been a bit of a overly cautious business owner. I've always made sure that I don't overbook. That means that I ended up with a lesser income because I didn't want to stretch my time too thin. My boundaries are so tight, you guys, that I will gladly take a little less money so that I can have a little more time to relax and rest and rejuvenate. So I do a lot of things in the 24 hours that I have, but I also am very, very particular about how many clients that I'm able to take, and make sure that I can do a good job for everybody. I want everybody that I work with to feel like they have had a beautiful experience working with me. So I don't want to spread my time too thin among too many clients at once. Also, you don't want that time that you're working to bleed into your family time. Your family is very important. And the last tip I have is take care of yourself. So making sure that you have time not only for your family, but for you. So you got to take care of yourself. And you need time to read those books that you've always wanted to read. You need time to watch those Netflix series that you've always wanted to watch. So for me, I take care of myself the best I can. And that means that I am working out regularly as much as I can. Last year, at the end of 2022, I was working out about 4 to 5 times per week from October to December. And then actually October to November, and then Thanksgiving happened and Christmas happened, so I dropped down on my hours, but now I'm picking back up. So I'm not in the gym as often, but I do have some equipment up here upstairs in my house. So I have a Peloton, and so I've been using that more often, and I try to make it a habit either to get on the Peloton or the elliptical or to go outside and take a hike. And it's important that I get fresh air every day. I like to take care of my skin. I like to take care of my overall well-being. So I'm drinking plenty of water now, more than I was years before when I was struggling with trying to get the water intake. I keep my water with me all the time now, and I'm drinking my water. Another thing I like to do is stretch. And because I spend a lot of time at the computer, I have what they call text neck. It's when you get like a really stiff neck from being at the computer so much. So I also try to do a lot of stretches just to relieve the tension in my neck and shoulders from being at the computer a lot, since I do work at my computer so often. And I have things that help me with ergonomics, so chairs that lift up and down, and things on my computer, laptop stands that make it easy so it's slanted and I can type more easily without having to strain my neck downward. So it's really important to take care of yourself at work, in your office, and whether it's your home office. It's important to take care of your well-being. Also try to eat well. So that's another thing. I'm always on the health journey with eating better. I'm not perfect at that, but nobody is, right? And so I'm working on eating more plant-based. I'm working on just trying to be a better person, a healthier person overall. So I hope that you have been inspired. What are some of the things that you're doing? I love to hear how you are incorporating some health tips into your life as a solopreneur. I'd love to hear what you're doing. So you can leave me a comment below and share what you're doing. Lastly, to kind of piggyback off of the take care of yourself, another thing that is really, really important is to remain mindful. And that's part of self-care. Mindfulness is so important. So make sure that you take time to breathe. You take time for mental health. If you need a therapist, invest in that. If you just want to practice a quiet time and meditation, then do that. For me, it's reading my scripture, it's having my cup of tea, it's meditating on scripture, it's talking to God, it's hearing him talk to me in my heart and give me directions and instructions for the day. And it's just, putting myself in a place of peace so that I experience the fullness of what God has for me in my life. And it's also journaling. Journaling has been one of my saving graces in 2022, and I will continue doing that in my life. I do audio journaling. I write a little bit as well, but I prefer typing my journal out. So I do a lot of things to help clear my mind of all the cobwebs and the yucky stuff that tends to build up over time. So it's good to clear your brain. If you don't have a therapist, you can use journaling as a technique to get clear so that you can move on and make progress in your life. So those are some tips I have for you, and I hope you've enjoyed them and that you'll share some of the things that you're doing as a solopreneur to practice mindfulness, to take care of yourself, not overbook, delegate tasks, and set boundaries with your clients. That's all I have for you today, and I'll see you next time with probably another interview and more videos about what I do as a podcast coach and books that I'm reading. So I look forward to connecting with you more on this channel. Talk to you soon. Bye.